And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, we will be discussing the possible eviction crisis that's coming and how this is all a part of the Great Reset. When you take a step back and you look at all of the different pieces on the chessboard, there's so much at play right now to the point where the average American is simply reacting to everything that's happening because they're being hit with so many different things at one time, whether it's social unrest, whether it's income inequality, whether it's technology taking their jobs. Now we have Republicans and Democrats debating about how much stimulus. They're already talking about cutting the stimulus. Now Trump is not going to include the federal moratorium on evictions, whether we're talking about China versus the United States with the whole Cold War, if we're talking about the amount of debt that the West holds. Like literally, when you really take a step back, if you're not looking at the entire field, you will miss what's going on. And if you've been following me on this channel, I've accurately predicted a lot of things. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm simply just saying this to you that when you take the time out and you're not reactionary, but you really analyze what's going on, you can see all of the moves before the moves are even put into motion. If you've been listening to me and you've been buying gold and you've been buying silver and you've been investing in precious metals mining stocks, you're making a killing. If you've been investing in crypto, you're making a killing. Even if you put some money in the stock market after the crash happened when the Fed printed so much money, you've been making a killing. But what you have to understand is that most people aren't making a killing. Most people are simply just reacting to everything that's happening. And when you take a step back, you have to ask yourself, if a lot of my predictions come true, what does that mean for the average everyday American? What will the world actually look like? And as I've said to you guys before, there was a scene in the movie The Big Short, and I encourage a lot of you to go out and watch that movie, whether you do it illegally or whether you rent a movie. But they were in the casino, and the two young guys, they were jumping up and down, and they were so excited about how much money they were about to make from the housing crisis back in 2008. And Brad Pitt turned and looked to them, and he said, "Do you understand what this means for the average person? How many jobs are going to be lost? How many people are going to lose their home? How many people are going to spiral into depression, may not be able to put their kids through school?" And that's what I battle with when I see my, Ethereum positions and my Cosmos and my Bitcoin and my gold and my silver. I see all of the things that I like, they're exploding and I'm making so much money. But then I'm a three-dimensional thinker and I understand that I'm making this money at the expense of what and who. And as I've said to you guys, certain segments of the economy, it's going to feel like a boom. You are going to make a killing depending on where you're at. And then other parts of the economy, it's going to feel like a recession. And then there will be other parts of the economy that will feel like a depression. It really just depends where you are in the economy. And I really, really want to stress that to you. Now, I am not one of these people who I just want to come to you with a bunch of problems. I'm also going to offer you some solutions on how you can get prepared. Because see, you have time now. If you go back to before this pandemic first hit, I was telling you guys, stock up on water, stock up on supplies, right? We always talk about group economics. You need to have a group plan. You need to be planning things with your neighbor. You need to be planning things with your family. You need to make sure that your house is in order and that you have things in play. Best case scenario, I'm an alarmist and nothing happens. Worst case scenario, you have water, you have food, you have shelter. We're watching what's happening with these protesters and these looters. And you can tell a lot of these protesters and looters, they're part of organizations. They belong to government, and they're here to incite and inspire riots. What happens if, your local grocery store gets burnt down? Do you have another means to getting food? Like, all of these things matter, and you need to be making sure that you have a plan and that you are not being caught off guard. Because understand, as I've been telling you guys, this is no conspiracy theory stuff here that I'm saying. They had the summit. They have a page called the World Economic Forum, and they are talking to you about they want a great reset. And this is all a part of the plan, and you have to make sure that you are prepared for what's to come. So we're going to dive into a lot of things tonight. I know it may seem scattered, but if you are a three-dimensional thinker, you're going to be able to put these pieces of the puzzle together to make sure that you are properly positioning yourself. Because remember, if you're seeing the government cut the stimulus checks or cut the unemployment insurance from 600 to 400, it's only a matter of time before it goes from 400 to 2 or from 400 to 0. So as you come into this live stream, like this video, share this video, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you will be notified when I go live in case YouTube doesn't send you my notifications. Also, make sure that you follow me on Instagram and you shoot me a DM if you want to contact me. For those of you who are interested in learning about blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies, I created My Tech Academy. We have a free 7-day trial. You can come in there, test it out, see if you like it. If you like, I hope that we're not doing this again tonight. For those of you who are a part of My Tech Academy and you're a part of the Coding Bootcamp, there's 2 new chapters that has been uploaded in there. Guys, make sure that you're keeping up with the modules so that you don't fall behind, because if you fall behind, then it's going to be hard to catch up, especially when we get to the point where we start building out our applications. Also, I am going to be putting together a trading course teaching you guys how I enter the market and how I exit the market and how I position myself in trades. That should be done within the next 2 to 3 days for those of you who are part of the introductory level course. So if you can see and hear me clearly, guys, just type 1. It's definitely not my internet. I checked that with my internet service provider. So it's definitely not the internet. I'm believing that it may be something wrong with my computer. So I think it might be something wrong with the actual CPU. So everyone can hear me clearly. So now let's get to it. It says 1/3 of American renters expected to miss their August payment. 1/3 of Americans, that's about 30% of the country, that cannot pay their rent. It says renters across America are wading into unknown territory with the lapse of the federal moratorium on evictions that expired July 31st and the end of $600 per week boost to unemployment benefits. I want you to take a step back. If they're already debating about going from 600 to 400, we're in an election year right now. So they're not going to let things go too crazy. So I want you to understand that you have time. You have time to prepare yourself from an investment perspective. You have time to prepare yourself from making sure you have enough goods and services and supplies, and you have firearms, whatever it is that you need. You have enough time now because they're not going to let things fall apart prior to the election. Get your house in order. They're giving you a layup right now. They're already talking about going from 600 to 400. Get prepared. An estimated 27% of adults in the United States missed their rent or mortgage payment for July, according to a nationwide survey conducted by the United States Census Bureau weekly over the last 3 months. Among renters alone, just 1/3, 34%, said during the waning days of July that they had little to no confidence that they could make their August rent payment, a stark measure of the ongoing economic devastation for households stretched to the brink by the pandemic. The survey registers the deepest uncertainty across the South, where in some states, more than 1/3 of renters and homeowners said they missed their last rent or mortgage payment and would struggle to meet their obligations for August. In Texas, for example, 39% of renters said they weren't certain they could pay their rent, or they were sure they couldn't. In Oklahoma, doubt has crept to 43%. I want you to pay attention to this. This is serious because so many people now are stuck depending on the government. This is important. Another thing I've been telling you guys about businesses going bankrupt. I told you this had nothing to do with the pandemic. Prior, when the economy was doing well, I told you the economy was only doing well because these companies were able to borrow at cheap rates. They had too much debt. So now when this pandemic happens, because these companies were carrying so much debt, now when they are forced to close their doors, they can't service that debt. So these small businesses that went out of business, they're never coming back. So those jobs, between Amazon, Target, and Walmart, those may be the only major retailers in this country. It was already happening because of technology. And see, that's a part of the Great Reset. Many of those jobs are never coming back. Many of these small businesses are never going to be able to recover. So you have to make sure that you're paying attention to what's happening here. That $600 that they're giving you, that's to pacify you. That's to put you to sleep. That's to rock you to sleep. You have to make sure that you are getting your mind prepared for what's to come. What is the world going to look like 6 months from now? What is the economy going to look like a year from now? So it says big companies are going bankrupt at a record pace, but that's only part of the carnage. By some accounts, small businesses are disappearing by the thousands. By the thousands. And the drag on the economy from these failures could be huge. I've been telling you guys about this for months now because these companies, see, we live in a fractional reserve economy, right? Where debt is money, right? So when you see all of this growth in the economy, when Trump is telling you that the economy is doing well, that's part of the problem because the economy is only doing well because people are going into debt. But see, debt is a double-edged sword. See, it works well when the economy is booming, but then when the bust happens and you don't have the revenue coming in, you can't make payments on the debt. So now when you start thinking about quantitative easing and all these different programs, the rest of the world is sitting back, Russia and China, and they're saying to themselves, it's not fair that you just get to print money out of thin air and bail yourself out. So now you start seeing people looking for alternative currencies, right? So you really have to start putting your 3D thinking caps on and seeing where this is going. Now start thinking about going back to mortgages. How many pension funds hold mortgage-backed securities? How many pension funds depend on that 3% mortgage, that interest on that mortgage that you're supposed to be paying? Well, if you're not paying your mortgage, then that means those mortgage-backed securities and the paper that these banks are holding and that these pension funds are holding is worthless. We already know that many of these pension funds are underfunded. So when I start talking to you about this Great Reset and I start talking to you about how they're hitting you from so many different ways, they are trying to break you and they're going to keep hitting you wave after wave after wave after wave. You have to make sure that you're paying attention. And look, I said wave, and look what's in the article. This is my first time reading this article with you. It says, this wave of silent failures goes uncounted, in part because real-time data on small businesses is notoriously scarce, and because owners of small firms often have no debt and thus no need for bankruptcy court. Probably, all you need to do is call the utilities and tell them to turn them off and close your door, said William Dunkelberg, who runs a monthly survey at Chief Economist. You have to read that. So what I want to do now is I want to come to this article. It says the coming eviction crisis. It's hard to pay bills on nothing. So many Americans, they're not working, right? You have to make sure that you're paying attention to this, because listen to this. It says, in Columbus, Ohio, judges have relocated eviction hearings to the cavernous halls of the city's convention center to ensure there's plenty of space for the grim business of throwing families onto the street. In New Orleans, plies of personal belongings on the sidewalks, in the haunting phrase of Sue Mobley, a member of the city's planning commission, are an increasingly common sight. In Savannah, Georgia, the county sheriff John Wilcher announced at the start of the month that he will begin moving forward with about 500 pending evictions. Mr. Wilcher told reporters that he hadn't carried out evictions for the last 5 months, but that people, after 5 months, should have been able to come up with some kind of deal or something to help themselves out where they wouldn't be evicted. The sheriff didn't offer any pointers on how to find a job in the midst of a pandemic. The last time the economy went over a cliff, in 2008, the federal government encased the banking system in plastic bubble wrap and allowed millions of Americans to lose their home. It's happening again right now. I have videos talking about this. You had to wait almost 2 months to get $1,200. The minute that the stock market started crashing, the Federal Reserve was already up. Oh, we have $4 trillion here, $2 trillion here, a $3 trillion program here, to the point where the Fed is even buying junk debt. The Fed is guaranteeing bonds for corporations. But for everyday Americans, they're not throwing trillions of dollars at you left and right. So you have to start paying attention to what's happening. And now you have the Republicans and the Democrats debating about $3.5 trillion bailout package or $2 trillion or $1 trillion. And we know most of that money isn't really going to go into the hands of the people who actually need it. Most of that money is going to go to pet projects. Most of that money is going to go to pork. It's not going to happen for the everyday person. So you have to think about that. They're already signaling to you that they're not going to help you out. And now I want to play a clip for you because this is very, very telling. Larry Kudlow, listen to what Larry Kudlow said to Stephanopoulos. Let me play this for you.
Morning. Let me just give you a chance first to respond to Senator Schumer. You saw him right there say that the president's proposals are paltry, weak, narrow, unworkable.
Well, look, I think that provides significant economic assistance, even though the numbers are coming in very strong. A good jobs number on Friday, declining unemployment. We've created over 9 million jobs in 3 months. That's a record. But there's still a lot of hardship out there. There's a lot of heartbreak out there. And the point that President Trump made yesterday is that on several occasions, we tried to get, for example, a compromise deal on the unemployment assistance, which ran out, the federal unemployment assistance. That's a key point. A second key point was the eviction moratorium. Because the Democrats rejected various compromises, at least twice, to my knowledge, President felt he had to take action, and it will be timely action, and it will be temporary action, to be sure, probably mostly out to the end of this year. But let's help those who still need help.
But Larry, in fact, the president doesn't extend
great progress, but we had to take action.
In fact, the president doesn't extend the federal eviction moratorium. I looked at the executive order. It doesn't do that. It simply directs HUD to find a way to help people and identify federal funds. It doesn't include extending the eviction moratorium.
Well, look, that's not entirely true. I mean, in there.
Well, it is true.
Secretary of Health Secretary of Health, if any determination is made that there's a health threat of community spread due to evictions or forbearance due to coming on top of evictions, that they would take action. So that's clear, and I think that's exactly what the health secretary is going to do. We also are going to be working through other agencies to spend some money for example, rental assistance. And federally backed housing, whether action to be sure, probably mostly out to the end of this year, but let's help those who still need help.
But Larry, in fact, the president doesn't extend
great progress, but we had to take action.
In fact, the president doesn't extend the federal eviction moratorium. I looked at the executive order. It doesn't do that. It simply directs HUD to find a way to help people and identify federal funds. It doesn't include extending the eviction moratorium.
Well, look, that's not entirely true. I mean, in there.
Well, it is true.
Secretary of Health, if.
So I want you to hear how he's trying to spin this. He's saying, oh, that's not entirely true. And George is saying, no, that is entirely true. Trump is not trying to extend the federal wave of the moratorium on evictions. He's not trying to extend that. But yet they're going to sit up here and try to spin it like, oh, no, he is. No, what they're doing is they're playing tricknology. It's the same thing that happened with the SBA loans when I was telling you guys that most of that PPP loan, most of those business loans, they weren't going to go to everyday people like you and I who have businesses. They were going to go to the congressmen and women's cousins and brothers and large companies who didn't need a PPP loan. They didn't need the SBA loan. But see, they purposely make these things so confusing and convoluted so that it can't really help you. So now when you're getting evicted and you're getting thrown out on the street and you're calling HUD and you're calling this agency, they're going to say, oh, well, you have to call this government agency and that government agency constantly giving you the runaround, right? This is why I'm trying to tell you guys, this is all a part of the Great Reset. This is done by design. And you have to make sure that you have a plan. Right now in New York, billionaires and most of the wealthy people, they're fleeing New York. They're leaving New York. Everyone's running down to Florida and they're running down to Texas. They're leaving these big urban cities. It's a reason why. Look what's happening with Antifa and Black Lives Matter and how they're burning stuff down. This is predictive programming to what's to come. It's going to be more. You have to make sure that you're paying attention and you're not just getting caught up in the mix. Because I know I may sound crazy, but I'm not. See, they are telling you right now they want a great reset. I'm going to play their words for you. You can go look this up yourself. This is from the World Economic Forum that they had in Davos. All of your great industrialists and industry titans, your Elon Musks of the world, your Jeff Bezos of the world, your Robert F. Smiths, all of the billionaires got together. This is no Illuminati, reptilian, shape-shifting aliens from Planet X. No, they have a website. They're telling you they want a great reset. He's going to tell you right now out of his mouth what he wants. And I'm going to play it for you right now.
Water. But to get us underway, let's hear from the forum's executive chairman and founder, Professor Klaus Schwab.
Thank you, Adrian. It is obvious that we are in the midst of the most severe crisis the world has experienced since World War II. 75 years ago, countries and people came together to shape the post-war global order, which brought us decades of peace, increased global cooperation, and prosperity to hundreds of millions of people around the world. The COVID-19 crisis has shown us that our old systems are not fit anymore for the 21st century. It has laid bare the fundamental lack of social cohesion, fairness, inclusion, and equality. Now is the historical moment, the time, not only to fight severe virus, but to shape the system for the need for the post-corona era. We have a choice to remain passive, which would lead to the amplification of many of the trends we see today: polarization, nationalism, racism, and ultimately increased social unrest and conflicts. But we have another choice. We can build a new social contract, particularly integrating the next generation. We can change our behavior to be in harmony with nature again. And we can make sure that the technologies of the fourth industrial revolution are best utilized to provide us with better lives. In short, we need a great reset. We have to mobilize all constituents of our global society to work together. We must not miss this unique window of opportunity. For this reason, I'm grateful that we are joined for this announcement of the Great Reset Initiative, not only.
So, I don't come up here and participate in trying to scare you. I don't sit up here and I try to get you to be scared. They're telling you they want a great reset. And see, when you start thinking about Netflix and all of these different companies, and now they're talking about, reparations, and they're talking about trying to help people and all that. This is all about funneling money to organizations and groups that are going to steer social thought and steer and social engineer society. Like, all of these things are happening and converging at one time. And if you're not paying attention and you're getting caught and bombarded with things, and you're not really looking at the full deck and looking at the board and all of the different pieces, you're going to get mixed up. He's saying to you, he wants a great reset. And they're going, see, it's not just communism, Jay Green, it's Marxism, it's capital. They're attacking you from so many different angles. And, I don't want to make this about, crypto and all that, but like, we have ways of fighting back. And this is why I was trying to tell you guys about, we're in the fourth industrial revolution. This is going to be, this war that's going to be waged is going to be waged with technology. Like Nipsey Hussle said in the video that I made a while back, you're not going to fix this with a protest. You're not fixing this by marching in the street. The wars of the 21st century is going to be fought through bioterrorism with bioweapons and eco-terrorism with floods and HARP. Like, these are not things that you're just, you can make up. These are things that are really here. And this is why I stress to you guys about learning technology, learning about how to program in Python, because that's all about machine learning. That's all about artificial intelligence, right? Whether you join my Tech Academy or not, whether you go through my coding boot camp, I give you guys, MIT has a free open courseware. Go and learn this stuff because it's happening. It's happening. And for those of you who want to get prepared, here's a website to get prepared so you can learn some survival skills. Because as I was saying to you guys before, these things are happening systematically, and they're going from Minnesota to New York to Atlanta to Chicago with all of this social unrest. We just seen a shooting happen there the other day and burning down. Think about it. We're in the middle of a pandemic. The stores and things that you need, they're not burning down a police station, what they should be doing, because those are not the people burning that stuff down. Those are paid agitators doing that. And they're systematically locking you into cities. They're systematically burning down the things that you need in your city so that when they shut everything off, you have nothing to go to. And you guys need to make sure that you are getting the skills that you need to have. Go to this website. I'm about to drop the link in the chat. I don't get paid for promoting this, but this is going to teach you some survival skills because you need it. And I know you're thinking that, oh man, you're just making this stuff up. You're trying to scare us. Over 350 cars stopped at random NYC checkpoints to enforce quarantine rules. We're already under martial law. You just don't know it yet. Here in New York City, they can now you have to ask yourself, because you know me, sometimes I like to wear my conspiracy hat. How do I know that when they pull me over and they test me that they're not really giving me the virus? Right? You don't know. Because we know what they did in Tuskegee. We know what they did in Tuskegee with syphilis and what they did to black people. So when you start seeing stuff like this, it's a slow creep, right? It's a slow creep. So this week it's the eviction problem. Next week it's the unemployment problem. Will your benefits be cut? Now you're dealing with your student loans. You don't know if your kid's going to go back to school. What are you going to do if your job will let you come back to work, but school is not open? Now you have to worry about what's happening with China and Russia. You don't have enough money saved for retirement, right? They're hitting you so many different ways. This is why I stress to you guys, get prepared. Because it's coming. Forget group economics. Have a group plan. You need to have a group plan for, if I need to get out the city, which highways can I take? Which trailways can I take? What mountains are near me? Do I know how to start a fire? Do I have flashlights? Do I have a generator? Do I have enough ammo? This is not to scare you. This is to tell you, get on code and get prepared, because you know what's to come. So I'm not just here giving you fear porn. I'm giving you solutions. I'm not here to scare you. I'm giving you real solutions as to what's to come. Also, part of the Great Reset, for years you've been hearing about the microchip. Listen, your children are watching certain cartoons, and these cartoons are instilling certain images in them. And I know you're saying, oh my God, here we go with this crazy stuff. What does this have to do with economics? What does it have to do with business? It has everything to do with business. It has everything to do with business. Look at this right here. This was a Netflix cartoon. I believe it was back in like 2017, 2018. And they had something called the Smart Mark. I'm going to play it for you so you can actually watch it. And you can see that they're not hiding anymore. Right? This is no Alex Jones. They put water in they're putting stuff in the water to make the frogs turn gay. We're not talking about no David Icke reptilian shape-shifting aliens. I'm telling you that Klaus is telling you he wants a great reset. I'm telling you what the humans are saying, not no gray aliens from some weird planet. They're telling you, listen, we have enough technology to live forever. We don't need you no more. It's time to reset. Get prepared. Now listen to this.
Charter City is stunned by the sudden rollout of Rook Unlimited's most fantastic device ever. The Smart Mark. Throw your other devices away, because the Smart Mark is more than just a phone. It's part of you. Use it as cash. Book your travel. And even shoot video. Distribution points are all over the city. And don't let the lines discourage you. The Rook Unlimited Smart Mark is worth the wait.
I never realized how wonderful technology could make me feel. The Smart Mark has brought order to my life.
And the best part? It's absolutely free. A gift of thanks to our city from Rook Unlimited.
23% of the population has been given the Smart Mark, number 1.
Time to test our system, number 6. The Flex Fighters are out there somewhere. Teaming up with Jonathan Rook. Let's put our new recruits to work, subtly.
We should find the Flex Fighters.
I ought to find the Flex Fighters.
We should find the Flex Fighters. We should find the Flex Fighters.
Growing up in this city, the streets of...
There's so much that I want to get to that in just that quick clip. First of all, did you see how at one time everyone's smart mark lit up and they all like zombies started saying, oh, we have to go and do something? The smart mark is already here. It's your smartphone. See, let's take a step back. What a lot of you don't understand is many of you are walking around with the chip already. It's in your phone. Your phone knows more about you than you know about yourself. What do you think trending on social media is? When you see something trending on social media and you see everyone talking about it, that's the smart mark telling you what you should be thinking about. That's the smart mark telling you what you should be focused on, right? So everyone's focused on Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. You're not focused on the coming eviction crisis, right? You're worried. You're worried about what's trending, and whether you agree with it or not, you're talking about it, right? So these algorithms control everything that you think and that you do. And that's why we try to tell a lot of you guys, like, why do you think when you come on YouTube starts suggesting certain things to you that they think you should like, and then they'll shadow ban certain information that they don't want you to see or they don't want you to hear. So you have to start asking yourself, are you influencing your thoughts, or is something outside of you influencing you? You have to make sure that you're paying attention to this. Now, Thundora said something about Elon Musk and the Neuralink. Well, look what I have right here. Great minds think alike. It says Musk's Neuralink chips leave your brain vulnerable to hackers. Elon Musk's brain chip project linking human to computers runs the risk of being hacked and allowing thieves to steal your thoughts and memories, according to experts. Brain-computer interfaces, BCIs, have the vulnerabilities of most computer technology. Neuralink is his company. They are trying, if you study transhumanism, they are trying to merge man with machine. And it's all a slow creep. I know you're like, oh, but it's all a part of what's happening. Think about a cashless society. Think about a cashless society where the government controls everything. We already basically live in a cashless society. I've made videos about this already. Oh, you went to the wrong protest? We shut off your debit card. We shut you out the bank account. You can't use your bank. Oh, you don't like what the government's doing? You're dissenting against the government? They're already doing it in Hong Kong. China is doing it in Hong Kong right now to its people. So I'm not sitting up here telling you something that's far-fetched. I'm telling you things that are happening right now in your face. And there's 352 of you watching this. Like it. Like the video or dislike it. It helps the content get out there. And see, this is with the whole idea of cryptocurrencies. This is the whole idea about Bitcoin. Satoshi left you a gift. You need to educate yourself about how Bitcoin can protect you. That's for you to go and study. But I'm telling you, the Fed in the CARES Act, they wanted to launch a Fed coin. They wanted to create a digital currency. It was in the CARES legislation. But remember, I told you guys, it's a slow creep. It's a slow creep. It's order out of chaos. It's problem, reaction, solution. They create the problem, wait for the reaction, and then come and offer you the solution. It's up to you if you are going to take the time out to prepare yourself. Westworld's a great example. Westworld's one of my favorite shows. When everyone was at the park enjoying themselves, they didn't realize that there really was being studied to merge man with machine. The people who owned the park wanted to live forever. What is transhumanism all about? Why is Google storing all of this data about you? Why are they storing all of your search results? Because they want to try to mimic how humans think. And right on cue, look at this. I just want to show you something. Look at this. I'm not making this up. This is the company called Boston Dynamics. Why do you think I keep telling you guys learn about technology? Because you can get a job programming these robots. Now I know what you're saying. Oh, look, that robot, it barely can move. I know. Well, look at this one. Look what this one can do. I'm just telling you, many of these jobs that you have, they will become obsolete. Again, I'm not making these videos to scare you. I'm making these videos to show you. Technology is going to be very, very important. Now, you may want to just assimilate. These robots need to be programmed. These robots are being built. These are good paying jobs. If you want to assimilate, right? If you want to fight, then you want to fight. Right? But I'm telling you, this is what's here. This is here. So when you hear about the Great Reset, and going back to the whole eviction crisis, the average American can't focus on this. And see, this is all done by design. It keeps you distracted. You don't have time to really pay attention to what's hitting you because so much is hitting you so quickly. And as I said at the beginning of this video, I don't believe that they are going to allow this to happen right now in an election year. But just think about how bad things are right now with all of this stimulus. 30% of Americans are expected to miss their rent. 30% of Americans are expected to miss their rent or mortgage. And that's after they've printed trillions of dollars. So now what will the economy look like if they stop? What will the economy look? They're already talking about cutting the unemployment insurance from $600 to $400. That $200 is going to make a significant difference for a lot of American families. If we're already at 30% and they're talking about cutting these benefits, now they're predicting that they may not come up with a solution until mid-September, maybe October. How many people can afford to go that way? To go that long? Now, I know Trump, he passed an executive order to extend the benefits for certain groups of people. I believe for like most people who are already qualified for the $600. But again, they're giving you the signal, get prepared. Back in February, before this whole pandemic thing hit, I was telling you guys, stock up on water. Get your Lysol. Get your toilet paper. Get the things that you need. Get all of the get everything that you need in order. Get prepared because it's coming. So, with that being said, guys, I'm going to come into the chat now, take some questions. I don't want this stream to go too long because I noticed a lot of information that I just threw at you guys. So let's see what's going on in the chat. We can pull up some charts about the markets as well. Please do me a favor and like this video, share this video, subscribe. We're going to pull up some charts. Let's look at the markets, see what's going on. Give me 1 second. So we can close some of these windows. We can leave the Great Reset open. Even like here, look, NYC moms fleeing the Upper West Side. A lot of rich people are getting out of big cities. That should be another clue for a lot of you too. The fact that people are getting out of these big cities. So let's pull up TradingView. We can take a look at the markets, see what's going on. Crypto's been on fire. Recently, it did a little pullback. Gold hit $2,000, just as I predicted. Don't take this off the 4-hour. Let's put this on a daily chart. Boom. Like if I was looking to get into gold right now, I'll be looking to enter gold somewhere around here, around like this 1874. I'll be looking to get long gold around 1874, 1860 is where I'll be looking to put some buy orders in if I was looking to get in. See what else is going on. Let's pull up Bitcoin. Bitcoin's been on a tear. It briefly touched 12,000. Let's pull up a chart of Bitcoin. See what's going on here. This is the 4 hour. I don't know why everything keeps popping up on the 4 hour. I want to look at daily charts. And see what's going on. So let's look at the gainers. Codex. Look at the last month. So Bitcoin's up 23% on the month. Ethereum's up 58% on the month. XRP's up 40%. You guys know I hate XRP. What about the jobs that will disappear and people will start going into tech and drive wages down? A self-made SM. I was going to cover that, but I didn't want this video to go that long. This guy right here, Jeff Booth, he made the book The Price of Tomorrow. There will be a lot of jobs that will be created, but technology is deflationary, and technology is going to take away a lot of jobs, and that's just the reality. There's no getting around it. Robots don't get sick. They don't need a 401k. They don't need health insurance. They don't complain. So whether you like it or not, at the end of the day, the reality is, there's trouble for most people. Eli, I'm an engineering student. Why do you think many people oppose that tech will be a big thing? I think people fear what they don't know, and I think that people fear what they can't understand. And when you take a step back and you look at the fact of most people just use technology, they don't really know what it like actually how to. They don't really understand what the technology is doing under the surface, under the hood. They only look at technology from a surface level. So the average person, they really can't comprehend what's going to happen. And that's just the reality. Like Brickhouse said, automation. Many of the jobs that people have lost already has nothing even to do with China or shipping jobs overseas. A lot of it has to do with the chip, the microchip. You know, it definitely he says up and down and up and down. I don't know if you're talking about like the economy, but trust me when I tell you, technology is going to destroy a lot of jobs. You know, trust me when I tell you, it's going to destroy a lot of jobs. And see, this is where universal basic income comes into play. If you're one of those UBI people, and it's not even about socialism. It's just about the fact that, like, you know, technology is moving at such an alarming pace and is taking jobs at such an alarming pace that you're going to have to do something with all of these displaced workers. Because even if you say that, well, hey, just retrain people and they can learn how to, you know, work on the robots and stuff like that, you know, think about how hard it is to learn a new career at 40 or 45. You know, it's not that easy just to learn something at 40 or 45 and pick it up, especially something as complicated as, you know, like being a software engineer or a hardware engineer like that. Those are not things to, you know, pick it up. Even like Arville said, it's already doing it. Think about, you know, self-checkout lines. Think about ATM machines. ATM machines now, they can take checks. So you could deposit checks. You can do withdrawals right from an ATM machine. Do you need a bank teller? Go to Target, go to Costco's, and you have self-checkout. Do you really need those people who are working at the checkout lines when you have self-checkout? Look at fast food. They have the kiosks now for fast food. Amazon's already experimenting with drones. And now, look, another thing I forgot to show you guys. You know, I'm glad you reminded me about that. Let's just think about, you know, look at this self-driving cars. What do you think is going to happen to the I forgot to even bring this up. I had so many different things I want to talk about today. What do you think is going to happen to the taxi industry when cars can drive themselves? What happens to the trucking industry when trucks start driving themselves? Like there's like we already have cars that can drive themselves that's on the road. And then when you start understanding technology only gets better, right? It only improves. Think about this first cell phone back in 1988, right? Think about the first cell phone back in 1988. It was the size of a brick, and it had an antenna that probably was the size of my arm. No apps, no internet capabilities, none of those things that your phone could do back in 1988. Now let's think about today. Look what your phone can do today for basically almost free outside of you paying for the phone. Like your phone's a flashlight. Your phone is also like a fitness app. It can measure your heart rate, how many steps you take. It's your bank. It's your wallet. So if the car can do this now, what will the car be able to do in you know, look, self-driving cars are hitting the roads in Texas. Look at this. It's here. I'm not saying these things to scare you. I'm saying these things to prepare you. You know, you have to, you know, see these things are coming. Now, as I said to you before, if you're into, you know, trying to figure out what skills I need to learn for the, you know, the fourth industrial revolution, especially when it comes to artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data, you know, Python is the way to go. Many of you need to be learning Python and C#. Right? Many of you people need to be learning that. That's an important skill. And I told you guys about where you can learn that for free on the internet, right? So you're like, it's here. Right? Like these cars are already, you know, on the road. The technology's here right now. Ricardo Cortez says, Boston Dynamics is doing internships like crazy for engineers. The companies are growing. Of course they're growing. I'm telling you guys, big data is growing. This is why I started with, in the coding boot camp, I purposely picked JavaScript to start because JavaScript is a very easy language to learn. It's not that complicated. It reads and basically writes like modern English. So it's easy for you to pick it up. And then once you pick up JavaScript, then you can go on to the Pythons of the world and the C++ and the C sharps of the world. So, I like to try to start there. Where any skill in technology, protect yourself from the reset, or should there be an emphasis in programming? There should be an emphasis just in STEM in general. It's not just programming. Thank you for the donation, Health and Hustle. Anything that's related to science, technology, engineering, or math, you should be focusing on that. Or even in healthcare, like people are still going to need doctors, right? Like, so if you're in health, like that, you need to be in things that matter. The day and age of just being a political science major is over. Just trying to be like an accountant or something like that. Like, you need to be making sure that you are part of a staple in the economy that people actually need. Things that matter in a major way. Like, like I said, in the healthcare industry, if you're some type of a doctor, those things matter. And when I'm mainly talking about younger people, right? Like if you're an older person, most likely, politics is still going to be around. They're not going to just throw you on the curb. You probably have some type of a tenure or pension. So if you're older, if you're like 45 and up, you don't really have to be worried about that type of stuff. I'm mainly talking about younger people, right? Younger people is mainly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people like 30 and under who are, you may be lost right now and trying to figure out where do you want to go and what's next for you. Getting into something that's STEM-based, IT, stuff like that, data security, those things matter. But back to the markets. Let's check on silver. Let's see what silver is doing. See what's going on here. Futures. Let's pull up silver. See what silver is doing today. Check the markets. Yeah, everything's dumping. This is on a daily chart. Look at that. Almost hit 30 and just wiped everyone out. This is what happens, guys. Remember back here when I was telling you, this is how they wipe people out. People get too bullish. Remember that all markets are auctions, right? You have bidders, right? And then you have people bidding on the market. Well, in the bottom market, you have people who are trying to sell. They're on the ask. And then you have market makers. And every now and then, the market gets a little too frothy. People get ahead of themselves and you have to wipe people out. This is a buying opportunity. See, when I see stuff like this lets me know this is a buying opportunity. I don't get scared. This is now when I step in and buy. If you go back to my videos back here, when the market was selling. Okay, so we're reconnected. It says we're reconnected right now. So, the best times to buy the market, and I'm putting together a course right now inside of my Tech Academy, walking you guys through how to buy. The best times to buy is when you have these sideways moves. This is known as accumulation distribution, right? When markets start moving sideways like this, someone's either building a really big position or they're dumping a big position, right? So when I see moves like this is when I want to start. If I want to be bullish, I love seeing stuff like this. This right here is beautiful because I know the big boys are building up a big position, but they don't want to let everyone know that they're building up a big position because markets move sideways like this. And then, boom, they explode. And then you get these crazy moves up, and then you get a pullback. This is known as a flag. Like if you're into technical analysis, you already know this. This is a flag pattern. See, the problem is most people, they have the inverse way of thinking. They want to buy when the market's doing this. Most people don't want to buy when the market's down. It's very hard to convince yourself to buy something that's down 10%. Right? It's very hard to convince yourself that, right? Most people just want to buy when things are green. They don't want to buy when things are bad. And this is why I keep telling people about dollar cost averaging, right? Buying increments of $200 or $500 or $1,000, whatever your budget may be, building that position long term. Do you believe that the government is going to keep printing money? Absolutely. I believe they're going to keep printing money. How effective printing money is going to be, we don't know, right? at a certain point, printing money may pump the stock markets, but it may not be benefiting everyone else, because if inflation is rising faster than the amount of money you're printing, when people are not able to get it, it really doesn't matter. So I'm looking at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's about to pump hard. Like you've seen nothing yet. Like if you've been in crypto, you know that when these markets start pumping, these markets start to pump. I remember back in, I believe it was 2017, from August to September. Let's pull up the chart. I remember this. Let's go back here when that bull run happened. Right back here. Yep, right back here. I remember this bull run right here, where let's zoom in. I remember this bull run like it was yesterday when we went up to 20K. When we start pumping like this in 2017, I remember right here, August, market start moving. And then right here in September, the market just started going up. And then October, it kept going up. Then November came, it kept going up, 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 up. Every day, Bitcoin was up like $500, $300, $500, all the way up to 20K. And then that's when the dump happened. And then, we went through this bear market, and this is how markets go when they wipe people out. I'm telling you, we are gearing up for something insane in crypto right now. Those of you who are building your positions right now, building your portfolios right now, being smart about your buying, not being a pig, you're going to make really, really good money. And that's not financial advice. I have to say that to protect myself. I'm just telling you where I have my money at. Like this 23% in a month is nothing. Let's look at the past 3 months, right? Look at this. Ethereum's up 100%. If you guys listen to me, and again, I don't like to say this, but back when I was telling you when it was at 100, when it was at 143, because remember, in order for all of these DeFi projects to work, it costs gas, right? You have to pay gas fees. I don't care which token you want to go with. I don't care if you like Chainlink. I don't care if you into Aave, if you into Compound. In order for you to do staking, you need ETH. And in order for you to play with these, all of these different smart contracts, you need ETH. You need ETH because you have to pay gas fees in ETH, right? The reason why I won't get dumped again at 20K is because look what's happening globally in the financial ecosystem, right? We just watched the Fed print $13 trillion. They're already debating about printing trillions of more dollars, right? Look at the difference of the landscape here in 2020 versus 2017, where you have a global pandemic or plandemic, right? There's no choice. The only way out of this is to print money. If you read the book, The Price of Tomorrow, and again, guys, if you come over here to my Tech Academy, you go to the resources pages, right? These are the list of books that I want you guys to read, right? The Price of Tomorrow, where he talks about deflation. See, when you understand that technology is deflationary, and when you understand that the only way that you're going to get out of this is either you're going to let deflation happen and literally wreak havoc on the economy, because so much of our economy is based upon growth and inflation, or you're going to have to print your way out of it. You're not growing your way out of this. There's no growth. Think about it. In order for us globally to get $45 trillion worth of growth, we had to take on $185 trillion worth of debt. So we had to take on more debt to get a smaller amount of growth, right? Think about how insane that is, right? Like in order for you to grow, you have to take on debt. So globally, the global economy took on $185 trillion of debt just for $45 trillion worth of growth. So that means that we would have to, in order for us to get another $45 trillion worth of growth, we would have to take on double the amount of debt. So, the powers that be, they're already looking for alternative currencies. We see them buying up gold left and right. We see central banks buying up a ton of gold. We see China and Russia and Iran wanting to get away from the dollar because the dollar has a monopoly on currency. Right? So, oh my God, this thing is going off again. I guess it's kicking me off, guys. Looks like it's kicking me off again. So, but The Price of Tomorrow is a book that I want you guys to read. That was the whole purpose of me going there. It looks like my internet's kicking me off again. But before we get kicked off, I brought up the resources list because, guys, read that book, The Price of Tomorrow by Jeff Booth. He goes over technology and deflation and why the way that the economy is structured, it's just not sustainable for the 21st century. It's just not. Look at Chainlink. I don't own any Chainlink, but I've been telling you guys about this for months now. Look at Chainlink, monster in the past 3 months, 248%. 248%. Look at Cardano, 172%. I own a little bit of Cardano. I dumped most of my Cardano because Charles, he just has too many promises. This is where my bag is at right here, Tezos, 52%. Making good money, man. Look, Monero's my baby. I love Monero. Best privacy coin. Monero is what Bitcoin should be. Up 41%. VeChain. Look at my VeChain. I'm up 370% in VeChain. I got a decent bag of VeChain. I have a decent bag of Atom. You guys know my bag. I don't have to tell you guys my bag. Look at Aave. Aave, 616%. Well, Zachariah Williams, you can't speak for all black people. So like that's ignorant for you to even say that. I understand what you're saying, but black people, we don't own none of that market. That you don't own none of that market. Arthur Hayes is a black man. He owns BitMEX. He's a billionaire. Arthur Hayes is a billionaire. He's a black man. So, I don't just because you don't own any crypto, listen, don't put that on me. What am I really talking about? I'm talking about what I own. And I have people in my academy that's black. So I'm going to block you because clearly we don't need that energy around here. We don't need that energy around here. Well, the way that Bitcoin is designed, it could not be Monero the way it is. You would have to do a hard fork, like the design features, the scripting language that Bitcoin uses. So Bitcoin wasn't designed to be that way. It looks like my internet is starting to act up, so I don't want the stream to cut out. So I don't know what's going on with my internet, but it's been acting real crazy lately. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the stream here, and this weekend we'll do like the whole technical analysis and look over the markets and stuff like that. So guys, thank you for tuning in tonight. Please do me a favor, like this video, share this video, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Make sure that you join my mailing list so that you can be notified when I go live. If you want to contact me, I also have a consulting page that will be up on the website. So for those of you who want to reach out to me and you want to ask me some questions about investing in precious metals, investing in crypto, and also about entrepreneurship and business, if you go into My Tech Academy, there will be a consulting tab. It should be up within the next hour or two. Simply go there, ask a question before you send me any money, and then I'll get back to you and let you know if I can answer your question, right? I'm not into taking your money if I can't answer your question. Like if you ask me about creating a patent, I have no idea of how to create a patent, right? Like I'm not a lawyer. I would pay a lawyer to do that. So like if you ask me that, it doesn't make sense for you to pay me for something I don't know about, right? So you would pose your question, and then I would let you know if I can answer the question, and we would go from there. And for those of you who are interested in crypto and learning about Bitcoin, learning about Ethereum, we have a free 7-day trial from My Tech Academy. I'll pull it up right here. This is the website. This weekend we'll get together and we'll talk crypto. On Saturday, I'm assuming probably Saturday we'll get together and we'll talk about the markets, because it looks like my internet is starting to get ready to go out on me. I don't know what's going on. I'm assuming that it has some. I called the cable company. They said there's nothing wrong with the internet. I checked the speeds. There isn't. So maybe it's my computer. Who knows? But have a blessed and beautiful evening, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.